Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk about virtual machines, how we can create a virtual machine. And before that I just wanted to share a couple of details related to VMs. So basically virtual machines are the infrastructure as a service or IaaS compute services that are offered in your Azure. So if you want to deploy a server, you can just create a virtual machine. So basically, if we talk about the VMs or the virtual machine, it's working on the basic tier or a standard tier. So normally for the production works, it's always recommended to use an standard tier virtual machines. It could be a multiple type of categories or series. What are the difference between A1, A2 or B or D kind of series? So I will tell you in next couple of slides. So So these are the two categories. For the development purpose, they are recommend to use a O or a 0 to A4, and for the production purpose, Microsoft recommend to use the other series of VMs. When you will be going to create a VM, or whenever you are trying to create a VM in Azure, it will ask you to select a category at where you are going to deploy the VM. And as a standard, if we talk about the standard tier, it's around 90 plus sizes and up to maximum 120 virtual CPUs, 3800 gig GB of RAM, and maximum 64 disks are supported with the largest virtual machine size. And the specific talking about the specific limit on the virtual machine, so it must be on the generation 1 only. As per hypervisor, like in the on-premises Hyper-V, we have an option to deploy VM at generation 2, but here it's with the generation 1 only. The second thing need to remember, it always use the VHD disk and the fixed sized. So whenever if you're migrating it from the on-premises or transferring data from there, or you're trying to transfer a disk from on-premises to Azure and wanted to attach it over there, so it must be in the .vht format, as well as it should be as a fixed disk, and should not be your differential disk or dynamic disk. The maximum size limit that is supported for the operating system, it's 2 TB, and maximum data disk size could be as a 4 TB. The various performance limit, if we talk about in a virtual hard disk, it can be standard as 60 Mbps or 500 to 8 KB IOPS per disk, and if we are talking about the premium disk, we can get up to 250 Mbps. Okay. So whenever you're trying to deploy a virtual machine, first you have to understand the workload, what you can deploy it on virtual machines or what you can install it in your virtual machine. So in Microsoft Windows Server, if you're trying to take a VM that hosting a Windows server and their rules, so most of the roles are supported like ADDS, ADCS, uh, DNS, all these things you can install it on Windows Server, and as well as Windows features you can deploy it, for example a .NET framework and a couple of other things that mostly used by the people like SMTP etc. if need to deploy and test it out. So but the features those are not supported in mainly SNMP, NLP, storage management, the things that are offered in as an individual identity in Microsoft Azure. So those are not available or you cannot deploy it. Same as the DSCP direct access RMS roles, those are also not available in your Windows virtual machine. You can also deploy the Linux based virtual machine that are supported by CentOS, CoreOS, Red Hat, SUSE, or Ubuntu. We can also utilize Windows Server for deployment of FIM, MIM, SharePoint, Exchange, SQL Server, or System Center. So that can be deployed on the Windows Server, which are hosted as a VM in Azure. We can put the state list or the scaling workload for the big data or compute in the container structure format. Okay, we have seen in the back to second two slides back, we have seen that the virtual machine skill set or type of virtual machine. So these are the basic categories for the virtual machines where you can put A0 to A7 or AV2, DV2. So as per the requirement, if you want a optimized memory or high CPU, you must use the D series or a E series. If you want an storage, can use LS series. If you want a graphics processing unit, you must use the ANSI series. So these are the basic categories that offered by Microsoft or the VMs that are categorized in the various different categories. So you can easily identify as per your requirement. You can choose the type of virtual machine that you have to build. We can also build these virtual machines through PowerShell, and for that, like we can build it through a graphic console, and that is in the portal of Azure. Apart from that, if you want, you can use the CLI also, Azure CLI, to build the virtual machine, and Windows PowerShell also. With the PowerShell, you can use the new Azure RM VMSS config to set up the configuration, storage profile, OS profile, and we can build up uh, that also. The procedure is normal. If first you should create a resource group, then create virtual network and the subnet. You want to assign the public IP, you can assign it. If you want to configure a Azure load balancer, you can also do that. And then you can set up your virtual machine at the backend. So we have seen that we have built that resource group earlier, and now we will first build up one of the virtual network and then see how we can build a virtual machine in Azure. Okay, so this is what exactly. So first I'm just going to show you a virtual network and how we can use it. So just click on this virtual machines. So it will move you to the virtual machine section. Right now I don't have a virtual machine here. I will build a new virtual machine. So I'm just breaking this video right now here, and I will be continued in the next video to show you how we can build the virtual machine. The next video link is also in the description box. You can watch it from there. The entire series of this uh, Azure Beginners to Professional is playlist is also in my description box, so you can watch the entire series. So we will meet you in the next video. Till that time, bye bye.